Finally, Yellowjackets has returned. This is going to be my review of the first two episodes, so it's definitely going to be a lengthy video. If you are new, this is the first time you ever seen me talk about Yellowjackets, check out the description below where I'll have a link for all my Yellowjackets content. Man, this was a very long wait. Not really, because there's other things that I watched in between time, but we last saw this show back in 2023. Now it's 2025, damn near 2 years later. And I'm a little mixed with this first episode so far. You know, everything with the wilderness parts are still the best parts of the series. It wouldn't be Yellowjackets if you didn't have characters running through the wilderness. You know, that seems to be a theme of how they start these seasons off. But now it's springtime, winter's gone. The group seems to be a lot more unified in some cases. Shauna, not so much. She is pretty much the only one that kind of is acknowledging what's going on here and all the fucked up shit that they have done. Everybody else is trying to be kind of kumbaya. Nat is the leader at this point, so everybody's kind of nonchalant. Just really kind of giving into this cult thing other than Shauna. Shauna is butting heads with Mara. I think that's what her name is. Not really fucking with her, and I really like where that goes. But interesting way to kind of kick things off by starting with the wilderness storyline. Then we pick up with the adult storyline where in the previous season Nat died, so everybody's getting ready for this memorial, and it definitely seems like Callie's going to have a bigger role now that she kind of knows the truth about Shauna and also her father trying to blackmail people. This was definitely, I feel like, the weakest part of the story so far is the adult storylines, because a lot of the storylines you don't really know where they're going. I understand that we're seeing these characters trying to live their lives and just be normal, but there's always this weird, creepy stuff. And you almost forget that you're watching Yellowjackets sometimes when it gets to the adult storylines, because a lot of them I just feel like are really not going anywhere, and maybe that will switch going into this season. I just think that we need to start doing a little bit more. Like Shauna, out of all the adult storylines, is still the best. Misty's kind of dealing with her own grief throughout this. I don't know what they plan on doing with Van and Thais's whole storyline, them rekindling their love, Van dealing with cancer. I honestly don't care, and I'm hoping that this season changes my mind. But switching things back to the wilderness, you know, Misty's still feeling like an outcast, and that's kind of like a theme with their character, whether you're dealing with the younger version or the adult version. They're also trying to deal with Shauna and deal with making sure Coach is dead. People are kind of concerned that he's still out there, and he is very much alive, and he finds his own kind of like rations and starts to kind of plot, starts to make his own type of schemes, which I'm curious to see where they take Coach's storyline in this season. Meanwhile, you have Callie dealing with, you know, people just kind of spreading rumors around school, and she is starting to plot to get back. Like I said, with the whole Van and Thaisa thing, I don't know where this is going to go. You know, obviously things from season 2 have affected her life, so she has to kind of step back from being a council woman and whatnot. While this is kind of going on, you have Shauna going through Callie stuff, finds her joints, starts to light one up, but then she gets a call from the school, and we'll get back to that very shortly. Because the next scene we get is Lottie and Travis tripping on wherever the fuck, and they kind of go on this nature walk, and Travis is tripping out his fucking mind, and Lottie's pretty much saying like, you don't have to be. It's okay to be sad over your brother and your father's death and whatnot. And then out of nowhere, Travis starts to hear these voices that Lottie doesn't hear at first, and then we see the coach take the little box with all the rations. He takes it out of the hole, and then he sets up a trap. And I was thinking like he's trying to set up a trap for like a deer or an animal so he can get some food or whatnot, but he's got something else up his sleeve. Now back to Shauna, because she got a call from the school saying that Callie threw some guts on the girls and whatnot, and Jeff's like, bro, we need to get this under control. We can't have her just out here doing this stuff. Even though Sean is kind of nonchalant about it, she's also still concerned at the same time. Jeff is right, like she knows all this stuff about us and the truth, and dealing with all the stuff in season 2, she must be going through something, so we gotta talk to her. While this is going on, Van and Taissa are out to dinner. Van's not really feeling it. She doesn't like being around all these bougie people, so they end up ditching the bill. And as they're running away from one of the waiters stops, and he starts to have like a heart attack, and then they end up making out. And then once they start to make out, Taissa starts to see old boy, and like I said, now we're getting a little bit more into the creepy stuff, where a lot of the creepy stuff is lacking throughout this episode, for sure. Like a lot of the horror stuff, the supernatural stuff is there, but it's very little. It's very vague. Next, we probably get my favorite part of this whole entire episode, where Shauna is on her crash out phase. She don't give a fuck about nobody. She's just waiting for somebody to say some shit, especially Mara, whatever you want to call her. And she straight up just spits in her food. And she just eggs around, even just mushes her face into her food. And this is where Nat starts to kind of intervene and says, look, y'all both are on like house arrest. Neither side is going for that. Mari just kind of but walks off and says, fuck this, fuck you guys. But yeah, Shauna's out here wilding. I love it. I love the energy that she's putting out there. So now we get towards the end of the first episode of season 3, where now we see Misty. She went earlier into this storage room where Nat has all her stuff, takes her coat and starts to kind of emulate her going to this bar, getting drunk, starts to hear the younger Nat talk to her, and then she starts to kind of fuck with these dudes, and before it can get any further, she kind of passes out. Walter is able to find her and comfort her, because she's really kind of going through the most grief. She's the one that kind of showing true emotion over this, where I don't think Shauna really gives a fuck, and Nat and Van are kind of going through their own motions pretty much. I also like the fact that Shauna and Callie start to have this mother-daughter moment, where she shows her the video of her dumping the guts on the girls, and her whole reason is that she just wanted to get back at them for talking shit. But I think she's gonna go in an interesting direction, because throughout this series, or this season, this first episode, somebody was watching Shauna and somebody is watching Shauna's house, and Callie gets this message, this tape recorder. What's on this tape recorder, I have no idea. It's really fascinating stuff. Meanwhile, in the wilderness, they're having this ceremony to kind of give send-offs and respect to the dead. But then like weird stuff starts to happen. Everybody starts to hear the sounds that Travis started to hear, and the episode ends with Mari caught up in Ben's trap. Now what Ben's gonna end up doing, I don't know, that pretty much is the end of episode 1. Episode 2 picks up. We see Coach didn't really mean for Mari to get caught up in the trap, but it worked anyways. So she has to relocate her her knee. She got disconnected or whatnot. That was pretty brutal. She was a little dramatic about it, of course. Meanwhile, Shauna is moving her baby's corpse into a different spot, and Lottie is continuously feeding Travis more and more shrooms so he can open himself up to this place even more. We get a lot of interesting details in what he sees and a lot of foreshadowing for later. Then we get to present day. Jeff is really excited about this deal, this dinner, and wants Shauna to be there. They want to just live life like a normal family, but Lottie pops up. She has nowhere to stay, tries to just stay there. Shauna doesn't want her anywhere near Callie, but Callie has a little bit of a plan of her own. Once again, Van and Thais's whole storyline really not going anywhere. They do want to kind of make up for running off on the bill. Walter tries to warn Misty about her so-called friends and how they don't really give a fuck about you. They just want to use you. And she's really not trying to hear none of that. And we see this constantly be a theme throughout the whole entire series of, clearly people don't fuck with Misty. They only want her if they need to get rid of a body, or just they need her for a specific reason, like babysitting Lottie, what ends up happening in this episode. Also, there might be some double crossing going on with the younger Misty, because Nat feels like Coach might be alive, but doesn't want to even think about that right now, and Misty might kind of use that to her benefit. So while Lottie is alone with Callie obviously looks terrified when she's around Lottie, and I like how that transitions into younger Lottie and Travis kind of having this bad trip, and this is fucking up Travis. And good thing that Thaisa and Van were there, because it got to the point where Travis was choking out Lottie. And now we get back to Callie, where she has this plan to kind of start to have like a sleepover with Misty and Lottie, not knowing that that's her plan. She wants to get them drunk. She wants to kind of get some information as far as what they did out there in the wilderness, what rumors were true. While this is going on, the dinner that Jeff and Shauna are a part of kind of goes left, where they're kind of shitting on Jeff, and Shauna's like, you don't deserve my husband, pretty much, yada yada yada. And then we also see a scene of Coach tying up Mari, because he doesn't know if he can really trust her to go run back to the girls and tell everybody, because he's fearing for his life, because he's thinking that he's going to be next on the chopping block. The episode ends though with Travis and Lottie having a conversation of what he saw and what he heard, and he replies to her saying like, it doesn't want me, it wants somebody else. That's why the animals like her. Not too sure who he's referencing. And then where I say that there's some backstabbing going on, Misty goes to Shauna saying like, yo, Nat knows something about Coach, and they're keeping that close. So that might be where Shauna creates somewhat of a coup. Misty leaves Shauna's house. Shauna's kind of just upset that Misty didn't watch Lottie and keep Lottie away from Callie. She goes home, takes her frustrations out on Walter, and that's not fair on Walter's part, because it's like he's really the only person that cares about her. Probably going to take some time to realize that. But then we get to see the coach with Mari and letting her know that, I got hot chocolate and all these things, but she notices that he's talking to himself. So there's going to be something interesting going on with this story plot right here. But then we finally find out who has been watching Shauna, and it ends up being this girl. I forget her name, and she obviously has a thing for Shauna, and they have a thing for each other. Don't know how that's going to play into the adult storyline, but I like these first two episodes. Not a lot going on, but a lot of interesting things going on at the same time with the wilderness storyline. But let me know how you guys feel about these first two episodes of season 3. Did it move the needle for you? Did you find them boring? Not enough going on? I think there's enough intriguing things going on the wilderness side of things. Some of the adult storylines are interesting with Callie. Like, what is she planning on doing? But yeah, let me know. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.